Good afternoon. My name is Jen Dempster. I am the president for PWC Professional Women Controllers, and I want to thank everyone for joining us this afternoon for our second of We Want You series, where we're taking the time to feature some of our awesome sponsors that do a lot for us throughout the year. Today, I've got three of our wonderful sponsors. I've got number one, Miss Sherry Reese from Kobeck. Sherry is the principal consultant of Kobeck Consulting, where she's served as the principal consultant for 2 years. Sherry has more than 39 years of experience working with the Federal Aviation Administration and the aviation industry. She began her career as an air traffic controller at Denver Center and retired as the director of the FAA Academy. Ms. Reese has an extensive background in technical training, having served in multiple leadership roles throughout the FAA Academy prior to being named as the director. Sherry, would you like to say hi? All right. Next, I'm going to introduce Mr. Mitch Herrick from Russ Bassett. He's the director of air traffic control consoles. If anybody has seen any of his consoles, I just got to see the beautiful Charlotte facility, which is amazing. Pretty jealous of Charlotte right now. But Mitch has been 32 years of air traffic control, retired out of Miami Center, responsible for all aspects of air traffic control console division of Russ Bassett Corporation. Direct customer service point of contact and interface with management and labor at all work sites, knowledge of the inner working of ATC facilities, offers a unique perspective and ability to work through issues with all stakeholders during every phase of the project. Thank you, Mitch, for being here.
Very welcome. Happy to be here. And I'm from Miami Tower Tracon, not a center guy.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You are a tower flower, just like me. I'm a tower flower. Nothing wrong with the center, guys, but I'm a tower flower. All right, and my third and final participant today is from MITRE, Mr. Mike Klinker. Mike has a huge, I'm noticing a very long resume of FAA. You were in, let's see, multiple positions in your career, air traffic control, traffic management, frontline, supervisor of traffic management, manager for traffic management at Washington Center. Also, let's see, TFM supervisor for ATFM personnel at Dulles. What is ATFM?
Well, so that's the ICAO.
Okay.
Instead of TFM, it's ATFM. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, right now, Mike, let's see, you currently work for MITRE. You've helped influence, facilitate, and advance the state of the art regarding air traffic management affecting the United States National Airspace System and MITRE international partners. Again, I want to thank all of you. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started, just so everyone does know, we are recording this. So if anybody does have any questions, comments, concerns, or whatever, please remember we are being recorded. We do ask that everybody keeps it a little bit of PC. Hopefully by the time now, everybody's now in the world of Zoom for over 2 years. But if you do have a question, please by all means put something in the chat. Raise your hand using the reactions, or if you want to give a little happy, what is it, the confetti or whatever, or show some of our participants a little bit of love by putting up some hearts, that would be fantastic. So with that being said, I do want to give each of our panelists just a couple of minutes to kind of talk about their company, what you do, and then we'll kind of go into a couple of questions that I do have for you. So for now, Sherry, I'm going to go ahead and start with you.
All right, thanks, Jen. I appreciate it. I did have a couple of slides to show, so just a few pictures for the folks to see to make it easier to convey what we do. But we're so happy to be here. Kobeck is so happy to participate with this, and had a lot of chance to reflect over PWC. You know, I was a former member of PWC for many, many years over my career, and was reflecting on your membership and thinking I was in the same seat they're in before I retired. You know, what was I going to do with my career and what was I going to do after? So happy to share about what Kobeck does. So we are a consulting company. We do provide expertise to organizations that, you know, where they need support. I've highlighted here on the screen a few of the major areas that we support. One of our fastest growing areas is in data science and in data engineering. Also supporting organizations with the unmanned aircraft systems. That is another fast growing area for Kobeck. We also provide acquisition support, cut our teeth on life cycle cost estimation and analysis, supporting organizations with acquisition and procurement support, financial economic analysis, those kinds of things. That's really a strong background Kobec has. Also program management and systems engineering. I also wanted to show you just a quick overview about where we are. FAA is our largest customer. You can see I left the detail in the organization so you can see exactly where we are in the FAA. We also, and some of the programs that we support. We also support other governmental agencies represented below, like the Navy, Homeland Security, Air Force, Army, and even NASA. So Kobec has a wide-ranging presence in a lot of different areas. And yet we're still a small business. So we only have 120 people. We are headquartered in Washington, D.C. We are a fast-growing company. And I did want to underscore some of the things I think are really important to your members, PWC members, about the culture at Kobec is this company walks the talk. So I just really have to highlight that. Kobec is committed to creating a workplace where emphasis is on the people, emphasis on diversity, work-life balance, remote work opportunities. I'm a remote worker. We have workers in over 15 states. We also have part-time work available. And there's just, Kobec is just committed to the people that work here, and we're on the way to becoming 100% employee owned, which is huge. So we have a brand new website. I invite you all to take a look, and you can learn a lot more about us there. So thanks for the chance to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sherry. Mr. Mitch, would you like to give your elevator speech about good old Russ Bassett?
Sure. I want to thank you guys for inviting me to be on here. I got to tell you that going to the PWC conference, the in-person ones anyway, for the last 5 or 6 years has really been an amazing experience. And in that, it may not be as big as some of the other conferences, but there are certainly an awful lot of decision makers and influential people there. And so we have, we really enjoyed that. As Jen said, I'm the director of air traffic control consoles for Russ Bassett Corporation. We're a company that's based in California. I live in Florida, and for those who know me, my phone number is Massachusetts, so you can't really tell where I'm calling you from. But I live in Florida. The company's based out of California, and all of our products are made in USA. What we specialize in is air traffic control consoles for towers, TRACONs. For the FAA, we're doing a lot of stuff with the DoD right now. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting outside the Joint Services Air Traffic Control Symposium in Myrtle Beach right now. For all the military, they're having a big symposium that starts tomorrow morning. We're in a lot of places right now, and we've been doing a lot of things with the Naval Information Warfare Center for deployable assets overseas. We've been putting stuff. A lot of our products have been going in container boxes that are becoming air traffic control systems and deployable units around the world. It's been a lot of fun for me, and we're a small company also. As I said, everything's manufactured, made in USA, which carries a lot of weight these days with a lot of people. It's fun for me as a former controller to go out and see the facilities and be able to interact with people that I used to work with shoulder to shoulder. The opportunities in our company, we have opportunities for project management. We have opportunities for sales. We have opportunities for human resources. Again, it's a small company, but we do an awful lot of stuff with the FAA and DoD. Happy to talk about it. I have some pictures of our products, but I'll save that for later on. I need to go into that. Just some of the new facilities. There's some pictures of the new Charlotte facility that Jen mentioned. The Fort Myers facility that's under construction right now. It's almost done. We just did Greensboro. It's a really neat environment for me as a controller to be able to use my experience as a controller in my retired life, and really have job satisfaction out of it. So that's my elevator speech.
Thank you. And I can attest the whole, I have Texas tags. I'm a Steeler girl with a Steeler phone number, but I work in Virginia. So I get you. Gotcha. Totally. All right. And last but not least, our very favorite, Mr. Mike Klinker from MITRE. Sir, how are you?
Favorite. Yeah. Okay. Hey, thank you for this and really appreciate the opportunity to speak with folks today. The background, I think, when I look at my background and a lot of the other folks and listening here today with Sherry and Mitch, the opportunities in the FAA or working outside the FAA once you retire are really pretty unique and significant. And if you place yourself in the right position, and any of these companies, I think, can give you a great opportunity as you move forward. There's, I live here in the DC area, and I'm working for MITRE Corporation, but I had the opportunity to be where I am today simply because of the diversity of things I did within the FAA. And so I'll underscore, if I forget I didn't want to forget, not mention that was the key that really opened the door for me with a number of companies that I had a look at, and then finally coming with MITRE. I'll go a little bit further with that, and I'll share the screen, and it should be popping up right now. I think you have it. Yeah, screen 2, okay. And you don't? So let's move from that to, we had this all checked out too a few minutes ago.
It did work.
It
was
did.
there.
It did work.
Yeah, it
I
worked.
could do this stuff. I've gotten, hold on one more time.
You got it, Mike. Don't worry.
I got it. All right. All right, I'll come back to those in a minute. Anyway, from MITRE Corporation, we're about 5,000 people focused out of the DC area. We've got people all around the country. Very different than the two organizations that spoke here for Sherry and Mitch. MITRE is a research and development corporation. We're nonprofit. Well, let's put it this way, we're not for profit. So we don't go out and sell things. We're federally funded for the most part through a number of government agencies, DOD, Health and Human Services, we're in the courts, and of course we're involved with aviation also. But from the unique opportunity perspective, we work deeply with the FAA almost across the board within the industry itself. And of course with, I think Sherry's slide was great of the diversity that you can get involved with. As far as what you're looking at from the opportunity to work with different parts of the FAA. And so I would say MITRE mirrors that. And so I look forward to chatting more as this goes on. And thanks again for the opportunity. And one day I'll get these slides squared away. Thanks.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. So for anybody that has joined in the call, if you do have a question, go ahead and put it into the chat at any time, and we will make sure that we get to it throughout the time frame. But for now, I do want to ask each of you, and Sherry, I'm going to start with you. What jobs can controllers, and obviously every single one of you have been in the agency prior, what jobs are available to controllers that are currently either in, or actually if they just want to apply within your company?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And here, just information so people can capture this if they want to, and also we can share this too afterwards if you want. That is really going to vary depending on what our current work is and what our current contracts are. You could see in that brief overview of where we actually are working within the FAA of the different types of organizations that we are currently working. And a lot of the work is supporting, investment analysis, acquisition support, all the areas I mentioned. So the current jobs, of course, our actual current jobs are all listed on our website. But I want to share that, ATC subject matter expertise is definitely valuable in many, many, many areas that we support. And kind of like Mike mentioned, and maybe even Mitch as well, additional specialized experience in your career, even beyond air traffic controllers, can be helpful. Now, this is related to ATC, but expertise that we have hired within the past 2 years here at COBAC involve experts that were controllers, but also had safety management systems expertise, specific expertise in safety culture. With the UAS integration work that we're doing, airspace and procedures work that experience can be very helpful. Training, my background is in training, built almost a whole career in technical training. And I've found it very helpful in the work we're doing supporting AJI today. Project management, and of course, leadership experience. All those kinds of things these are skills we have hired recently. And I think it's something that folks, when they're thinking about retiring or thinking about the next step, definitely things they might want to think about is what kind of expertise they can gain along the way.
Nice. It was funny because, again, I've been field facility for almost 15 years, and I just recently moved over to AJI. So when I heard that we work with Kovac, I was like, hey, I know Kovac. So I thought that was kind of cool just to see the different, from the different side of it. So it's pretty cool.
It is cool. I thought it was cool when I heard you were on detail up there. So we'll have to connect sometime.
Absolutely. And I know I just was at the downtown facility. I think it was back in December. We had a social there and it was really awesome. It's a beautiful building, nice office space. And again, everybody was so super friendly. So it was we definitely appreciated the hospitality that was provided to us. So
awesome. Thank you.
Mitch, how about you?
So I guess specifically right now, if you were to ask me what jobs we have available, I think I cover. We do have people that are looking. We have openings for sales. We have openings for the human resources department and project management. Before I retired, I was looking to do something totally outside of. I had been working within ATC for a long time, and I didn't anticipate that I was going to find something that was so ancillary to what everybody else was doing. I'm the only guy that I know that retired that went into doing ATC consoles. I'm the only guy. And so it has proven, but as this has grown, I'm aware that I need more of me around because we need more people that have ATC experience and understand the environment. And I think that is the biggest thing that a controller brings to the table is understanding the end environment of any piece of equipment or operation or program that's going into the building. It's really not going to be as successful as it could be if you don't have end user involvement at the beginning. And that's a lot of what my job is influencing the consoles and what they look like and how they function. And when we're installing them and the project managers go out there in the field, they have the opportunity to interact with the field and set the facility up, the tower and the TRACON up the way the facility wants it. We're not nearly as in as many spaces as a company like Kovac. We're very specialized in that we do consoles for mission critical environments. We do consoles in 911 call centers, and we do them in operations centers all over the country. We do air traffic control consoles, and now getting into the DoD stuff, that's opening up an entirely new door of, exposure to things that we haven't done before. And so having somebody with ATC experience that can help influence those discussions with the customer is what we're looking for. Not necessarily a direct answer to what you asked, but that's what you're getting.
It's okay. And I'll take it. It's all right. Mike, how about you?
So from the MITRE perspective, since we're research and development for the FAA, we have a unique position that we hold. We're constantly looking for engineers and really most subject matter experts. I know it requires some engineering thought because the engineering is about the equipment you use or have used. It's about the roles and responsibilities that you've learned over the years. It's about those interactions with folks within air traffic, and maybe for some the opportunity to get out there and do some volunteering within the FAA of being on different projects or activities that provide and broaden your view. But not only that, those are the expertise things we're looking at. If you're into data, if you're into numbers, folks can tell you, the FAA is huge now into data-driven decision-making and solutions. So data analytics is big. We do safety management system. We do a tremendous amount on that, including the ASIS program, which is housed at MITRE. Speaking of which, that ASIS program is a safety program that brings in data from all over the world to be considered for merging that data, washing that data, and putting it in front of parties, particularly within the FAA and industry, to determine the safety levels and the levels of safety we can advance within the FAA for the future. That's a lot of software folks, but also the need for subject matter experts to make sure when we throw all this data in, it spits out something that people can grab a hold of and use. Airspace and procedures, international work. I've been to China, Singapore, Vietnam, and had a chance to work in those places, which was cool, kind of. Some more cool than others. But those were mostly in the traffic flow management field, but also internationally, people are looking the same thing that MITRE's looking for, which is to be data-driven, to enhance safety and efficiency through their organizations, and to be able to provide those services wherever their FIRs are. One last thing, and then I'll let other folks have it again. We're working directly with the FAA to a significant level and have been defining the future. Since we're research and development, the FAA has this, and this is the way I put it, this is not the way the contracts are written, kind of throw stuff against the wall, see if it sticks, what works, what doesn't work, vet those items before a white paper comes out from the FAA or a new advanced view of, say, Photo 35 for oceanic work, or the vision for 2035 for the FAA. And that's on the research and development side. So very much unlike Mitch, we don't do sales. You have some project management if it's focused on those areas I mentioned. And I think Sherry is more on the line day to day, getting things done out there that have to be fixed now. We're doing some of that, but we do that separately from a nonprofit perspective to provide that objective view of what the FAA is doing. And I'll stop there. That was
well, I'm going to ask you the question. I'm not sure if you saw this in the chat, but the question was combining military and FAA experience. Do you still consider a job track or path on the website, or do you need to contact a recruiter to help better navigate the hiring process?
Well, I think all three of us would say, hey, feel free to contact us anytime. You've got the emails. And I think one of the best things you can do is, if you're in either PWC or FAA MA, feel free to come up with a number of folks who have gone through this and ask the questions. That would be my first step. That's what I did first, is I found some people that I'd known who retired before me and got jobs. The most good companies, or most companies, have information on their websites. That's a good place to go. If you want to learn about the culture in particularly, or the opportunities, whether they're full and part-time and those things. As far as how you're looking as you get, let's say, towards retirement, so whether you're going to be 50 or 56 or whatever it may be later, those opportunities come about really as you build towards that situation. When you're either going to have to retire or you choose to retire, as I did. And those certainly the companies will call. You can call the HR folks at MITRE. I can speak for that, and they'll be more than willing to provide you some information. But again, I think as far as building up what you want in those years prior to retiring, talk to the folks who've been out there, and because we can see, I've hired and as a manager within the FAA, I've hired as a manager within MITRE. And there's certainly a subset of folks that are willing to put forth the effort as they're in the FAA to make sure they're ready to go when they get out.
Okay. So let me ask you all this, because I know, Mike, you just said about the fact that you're looking for more of an engineering-based background, kind of like getting involved in special projects. Would that be considered something, say, like if someone goes to the tech center and gets involved with new, new emerging projects that are there? Same thing with Sherry. I know for you, you do a lot of stuff with, like you just said, with AJI, you do a lot of stuff with safety. So what would be the best way? And Mitch, it sounds to me like if anybody worked at a tower, a TradeCon, or even a center, they would be a really great, asset to the company. But what can somebody do now if they're still in the agency that could possibly make them more marketable to your company when they're getting like ready to retire? And whoever wants to go first, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I'd love to go first, and it's going to echo a little bit about what we've heard, but definitely, diversify your experience. You can do that in a lot of ways as a controller, even from where you are, like volunteering for work groups, volunteering for things at your facility. I mean, to learn more about what safety management systems are, get involved in the safety culture activities or as an example, airspace and procedures, whatever, but diversify your experience. And that for me even meant, outside of ATO. I went for a career in training, but it involved working with every organization in the FAA, including aviation safety, flight standards, aircraft certification, international training, and airports and others. That experience was extremely valuable. So I would recommend that if you can, consider, and this for me, this was important, consider advancing your formal education. I know that's not an option for everybody, but Mike's been kind of talking about it. I was a controller when I finished my bachelor's degree, and then I moved on and decided to finish my master's degree, which what gave me a leg up in a field of training where that academic excellence was required. So it's just something to consider if you're trying to think of all the opportunities. And I think Mike mentioned this too, but if you seek mentoring and networking opportunities, PWC is perfect. It's what you do, is set these kind of opportunities up, connect people with mentors, connect people with networks. I met Kobeck first at an ACA conference, which I was fortunate to be able to attend. I know that's not options for everybody, but networking opportunities, that helps. So I'll let my colleagues go now. Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's funny because when I was getting ready for this get together yesterday and the day before, and I was thinking about how would I convey my experience. About 3 months, I forget when when the PWC convention was in Charlotte.
Mhm.
When Tim Morell's address to everybody just resonated with me on such a deep level about getting a vast work experience. And it was just said, but Tim really personified that the way and I found myself sitting there thinking, boy, if I had been a little bit more open-minded as a younger man, looking at opportunities, not as something other than what they were, I may have had a different experience moving forward. But I will say I was very fortunate in that I was, I ended up being very involved in NACA and doing things with STARS and TAMR and Section 804 around the company. And I got to, one of the things that really struck me that I didn't appreciate as a controller, admittedly, most controllers, myself included, are pretty self-centered and think that the world revolves around the radar scope that I'm sitting in front of. And really that's the only thing that matters. And everybody else's job was secondary. And I truly believed that at one time. And then getting involved in other programs and seeing all of the amazing amount of work that goes into requirements and OT&E tests and the tech center and all of the things that go into putting a piece of equipment into the NAS is amazing. There are so many different facets of aviation that are directly linked to ATC that you can get involved in, and opportunities as was just stated, volunteer for work groups, broaden your horizons, work on airspace, work on, any new piece of equipment that's coming down the line. If you get an opportunity to work on that, it's an amazing opportunity. And when you get out there and you see how much work goes into it, there is the amount of opportunity out there is almost unlimited because there are so many different things. For me, I got to see that about 10 years ago, they were doing what was called the NCP, National Change Proposal, to convert a legacy STARS system to a slat wall system at Cleveland and Las Vegas. And as NACA's lead for TAMR, I was directly involved in both of them. And I got to see the slat wall idea. And it really resonated with me how it could change the work environment, how it can change the dynamic of the way the room can flow and the way equipment can be changed in and out. And so for me, it was about finding something that I thought interested me and made me passionate, because if I'm not interested, I'm not really good at it. And if I'm interested and passionate about it, that's when I become really good at it. So my advice would be find something you're really interested in and become an expert on it, whether it's an expert on paper or an expert in fact, just become an expert on it and people will see that. And then find a way to translate it on the paper to say how you bring to the table this experience that could help you as a, somebody in a new world beyond the FAA.
Mike.
Said.
Mike?
What he said. Let me add one little bit to that, if you don't mind. So the folks that I worked with, and I've been in MITRE for 18 years, so it's been quite a while since I retired from the FAA, a long time. Although I remember the last time I said radar contact, I think. But it's been subject matter experts that we've been brought on board, particularly from the areas that we hire air traffic controllers. Most have had a degree, but not all. So that's not a prerequisite to coming on board at these companies. It's really what you've done for yourself over the years. A college degree is good, but it's not absolutely necessary. And I think that's you can expand your horizons and become an expert at anything, as Mitch was saying. And the guys used to joke with me. I said, I had my bachelor's when I came on board. And I said, gee, maybe I'll get my master's degree. And they said, well, why? You already got a master's or a PhD in traffic flow management and air traffic. You really don't need that, which I always thought was really a good way to put it, because that's what companies, I think like MITRE and everybody else is looking for, is what is that expertise that you've been able to gather over the years and present back and communicate to us to bring you on board. And I can't underscore that work, as Mitch said, work in an airspace, work downtown, work at a regional office, find and expand the opportunities and diversity of experience that you have, and it'll go a long way for you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mitch, I agree. I remember Tim actually having that statement about, all these different jobs, and everybody laughs at him saying that he has commitment issues to a job, but because of that, he has a vast amount of experience, and it's one that echoes the success that he has today. So
it was a powerful, powerful statement, and it really resonated. It's resonated with me for 3 months, which is why I referenced it, because it was such a good point of, and the way you did you guys record that by any chance? Because
No.
if you recorded it, you could put it out to your members. It would be a great lesson in how to grow yourself and make yourself marketable.
Yeah, and it's funny because we used to always make fun of him saying he had commitment issues to one job, but I mean, it is like you said, it's just the fact that he has a vast amount of experience that has really gotten into a good spot, and it makes sense, because when you want to get into another career outside of the agency, we can, you can always go to companies like Kobeck or MITRE or Russ Bassett and say, hey, look, I've got this, and this. So one thing I would like to ask, and you don't have to do it now, but I would like to ask for everyone that is on the panel, if you would be willing to put in either your contact information or your website, so that way their individuals can go, and like you had said, they can do some research, check out your company, maybe do a little background, investigating on their own to see if this is something they'd want to get into. But one thing I do want to ask is, you figure with the agency, we're big about KSAs, the knowledge, skills, and abilities. You've got the USA jobs that we always put the bids out on. How does it work when you go to an outside contract company? And I know sometimes there's the issue where, you have to wait a year because of conflict of interest or something like that. But so how does that work with each of your companies? And Sherry, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, great. Well, in terms of that waiting a year kind of thing, that's an FAA restriction based on a bunch of stuff, and your position that you had prior. I think even your salary weighs into it, but it'll be different, and your ethics attorney at FAA will guide you through that process about what your bars are to employment or what you have to do to wait. But so for Quebec, I want to introduce you guys to our talent acquisition specialist. Her name is Cleo Nicely. She's going to talk about what we look for in resumes at Quebec, and also this little PowerPoint share that I've been doing has our contact information on the next slide, and we'd be happy for it to be distributed in total to all of your membership. So Cleo, would you please talk about what we look for at Quebec when we're looking at a resume?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you all for having me today. And real quick, I'll just kind of run through what my team at our talent team at Quebec, what we look for when we're reviewing a resume. So Sherry has a list here, and I'm just going to run through. So first, professionalism. We want to see, your professional strengths and qualities, and kind of try to start answering the question, what is it to work with you? What is it like to work with you? This would be a good place to start entering in, listing your soft skills. So mention things like your emotional intelligence, ability to collaborate, a good positive attitude, efficiency, integrity. These soft skills really illustrate your professionalism and kind of help us answer, what is it like to work with you? Obviously, you'll want to list your accomplishments, so certifications, professional licenses, honors, awards, anything that you have racked up over the years in regards to, accomplishments and recognitions that you've been given. Also, we want to see your qualifications. So what you were mentioning before, those KSAs, what knowledge, skills, and abilities do you possess that allow you to do this job well? And career progression. So lastly, we do want to see, what I like to call your highlight reel of your career. Each position with the corresponding company that you work for, and also your years of experience. I know it might sound silly, but it's not always included, and it helps us kind of understand, what you're more of a subject matter expert in, and what you have more expertise in regards to how long you were in each position. So that really helps us kind of evaluate your resume and find what you would be a good fit for at Quebec. And lastly, I know it might seem very silly to mention, but please make sure that your contact info is up to date and listed on your resume. You wouldn't believe how many times I've gotten a resume with no way to reach the person. So please keep your up-to-date contact info on your resume as well. So yeah, that's really all I had for what we look for.
Awesome.
Thank you, Cleo. I appreciate it. Here, let me do this. This is our contact information. If anyone wants to take a quick picture of the screen, feel free to do that. And then I will stop sharing this thing, and then you can, Jen, you can send the whole thing out as you want. What you can do with it, whatever you want to. So thanks.
Yeah, well, the good thing is, like I said, with these recordings, and Mitch and Mike, I promise I'll get to you in a second, but yeah, with all of these recordings, we're going to go ahead and get these added to our website, and I can go ahead and put your PowerPoint on there as well. So that way anybody can go back and reference it and take a look at it at any time. So,
Perfect.
all right, Mike or Mitch, you guys are up. What do you got?
Can you repeat the question?
What does it look like for a resume to get into to Russ Bassett? Or like, what are the qualifications, or what can, what helps them get in with you, with your company?
I think it's a very specific ask. Everything, obviously, we're going to look at the same sorts of things that almost anybody would look at. I think that there's a level of firsthand experience of, managing information, managing people, particularly for a project manager. A project manager has to kind of know where every facet of a project is at that particular time. There are project management classes that you can take online and get a project management rating very easily for like $100. It's an easy thing to do, but there's a lot involved with actually project managing things, and it's knowing where things are in the manufacture process, where they are with the contractor, and interfacing with the FAA and the installation dates, because that constantly moves. There's a lot of that. So when we look at the resume, there's going to be a level of what sort of experience do you have managing people and or managing information and helping people be in the right place at the right time, if you will. There's not really that many specific things that I could tell you about for doing consoles and ATC. Having a background and knowing the environment is as important as having experience. So, I don't have a lot to add to what was already said about looking at a resume.
Mike, how about trying to get with MITRE?
So, so keep it short. You don't have to go in, as you read my bio today, you chopped it down. So
Sorry.
do as I say, not as I just did. Okay. So keep it short, 2 pages or less. Anything beyond that, you're probably into paragraphs and writing things, and you really don't need that. What really will jump out, at least it jumped out for me when I looked through resumes. What have you done and what have you accomplished? And to add those things that, hey, listening to Mitch and to Sherry, both of you have accomplished a lot of really good things. And with those accomplishments, that drives a lot to understand who you are and what you're able and willing to do with what you've done in your career. Be original, a little be original with it. Don't sweat if it looks perfectly like somebody else says it should look. I don't particularly care for paragraphs. Bullets are better for me. But really, those bullets need to say something about what you've accomplished and what you've done. Put an area in there that highlights your skills and experience. If you're really outgoing, but you're not, don't put outgoing in there. Say, hey, I'm a heads down worker, say in a positive way. Think about that resume and where you want to go, because most likely if you're out there looking and you've done the homework before you retire or leave the FAA, then you're going to have a lot to say and a lot to brag on from there. Think beyond the job duties, a little bit about what you've done outside. Those small things make a difference to understand the real full depth of the person. Check for spelling and formatting and check it again and do it a third time. It's just, you just wouldn't believe it, what ends up in resumes sometimes. And that's just doing the due diligence. I don't mean to joke about it, but that's doing the due diligence, what you go for. For MITRE, the best thing to do is go to mitre.org. Okay, since we are a .org versus a .com, and you can go to jobs or careers, give you a tremendous amount of information there. More than glad to let you go ahead and email me, but you can go right to that and then submit your resume. The computer will swallow it up and vet it, and then also get it to HR, and HR will bring it to us. What'll be good is you'll be able to see there on the website all the jobs You can sift through them, put air traffic control in there, and that's or air traffic management. That'll work for you to bring up the jobs you're probably looking for. Those would be my recommendations.
Now, with all three of you, are you in a constant hiring phase for, say, air traffic expertise?
Well, from a Quebec perspective, we're not always in a constant hiring phase for air traffic control expertise. So right now, if you look at our website at the moment under careers, there's openings for cost analysts, and gosh, there's several other types of work that's available currently, and you'd have to look at our website to see it for sure. Not specifically for an ATC SME at this moment, but that, we're growing quite a bit, and we're constantly looking to grow the work in various areas where ATC SME expertise is available. I still encourage you to contact us because, as work becomes available, we want to build a bank of resumes. We want a reservoir of qualified, energetic folks that we can choose from as we need. So we encourage you to reach out to us regardless.
So is there, within the agency, we do have the career progression. Is it the same way with your companies too? Like you get into, say, one position, you're like, you know what, I want to try and branch off to something else. Is it easy to do within, or not maybe easy, but is that a possibility and an option?
It is a possibility and an option. Matter of fact, there's professional development within Quebec itself is extremely important. There's mentorship programs, professional development programs. There's different levels of positions within the same field of expertise if you just want to grow within responsibility in the same area, or also leadership opportunities as well. So I think, Quebec is committed to, I was talking about that culture thing. Quebec is committed to that. And I think you can see it throughout the company by the things that we value and the wonderful people that we have to recruit from and to choose from. I think Cleo mentioned top on her resume list was, what's it like to work with you? Because that's really important. But the work is important too, and excellent work is equal on that list. So. And so, yeah, we want to grow within too, grow from within as well.
I would say that no, we're not in a constant hiring state. It's not as simple as that. And right now, the FAA is getting ready to build, by most accounts, 100 towers in the next 5 or 10 years. So we foresee being heavily involved in that. So we're trying to do a little ramping up and be in preparation of what that's going to look like. FAA, they've had a little bit of difficulty in managing some of the contracts within the F&E world for the consoles, which we're all working through right now. By the way, one of your PWC women, Diana, just walked up here and accosted me while I was sitting here. I said, I'm on a PWC thing right now. She goes, oh, I'm sorry.
Bitch is known everywhere.
I was like, shh. But, we are looking to bring some people on in that. We know that we have a lot of stuff that's on the horizon that's going to make us busy for the next several years. It's not something that we do on a constant basis. So.
Okay, Mike?
Yeah, so probably the safe thing to say we're always looking for air traffic folks. Guys and ladies like me who are getting towards the end of their second career, are getting ready to move on. And from MITRE's perspective, the door is open for even hiring when we have to cover some people for a while, to bring them in to make sure that when the opportunity presents itself, we can bring somebody on board. Particularly from the SME side, it is challenging to get the broad look that we desire at MITRE. I came on board and I was a manager in the FAA. When I left the FAA, I swore, that's it, I'm done. I'm never managing again. I'm not going to do it. And 3 years into MITRE, they offered me a department management job, and I took it because I enjoyed it so much. But also, MITRE paid a little bit for some master's level classes that I took. MITRE has a huge program as far as mentoring goes. Education benefits are great. They pay 100% for everything in your books and all that stuff. If you want to move on, get your degree, if you want to get your master's degree, or if you want to get your, a lot of folks with PhDs. The unique part that I found mostly with MITRE is I was working with people from MIT and so many of the great universities and colleges in the United States. And at first it was a little imitating, or not imitating, it was intimidating. But coming into that environment was also very challenging. And when you come into MITRE, you'll have the opportunity to come in as SME in a particular area, a specific domain area that you may be interested in, because they're all open. Name a domain area the FA is involved with, MITRE is doing it. And MITRE is looking for greater diversity within the number of people we have to provide that opportunity to get those different areas of thought, personalities, and views that otherwise wouldn't be available unless we were continuing to hire. But again, it's that opportunity that you create for yourself, particularly how you present yourself and bring forward the information on a resume and set yourself up before you leave the FAA. Trying to see if I missed anything that I wanted to bring out. No, that's it. Back to you.
Just a really quick question. Now, Mitch, I'm thinking this is probably not applicable to you, but with Sherry and Mike, is the option, if I understood correctly, is to telework? Is that an option for employees coming in, or do they have to be on site, or is there an option for both?
Go ahead, Sherry. I'll let you go, and then I'll jump in.
Okay, from a COBEC perspective, many of our positions are full-time remote positions. My position is full-time remote. I'm in Oklahoma City. Well, actually, I'm literally part-time remote. So that may be the next part of your question. We do have part-time options, fully remote options. I'm in Oklahoma City. COBEC is headquartered in DC. And I think we have employees in 15 different states that are in full or part-time positions. So COBEC embraced the remote work concept even before the pandemic. So I have to say, I mean, I came on right before all that happened, and they were already embracing that work model. So it's not new for us. Okay, Mike.
Thanks, Sherry. We're headquartered in Boston and the DC area. We have satellite offices all around the country and internationally. MITRE has and does and will continue to hire people remotely. The only thing you have to be is within 2 hours flight time of a MITRE remote or a MITRE office around the country. And so that's pretty easy to do.
That's nice.
So yes, I'll tell you, I mean, to start off, it was much easier for me, and I'm glad I did it. Well, I had the opportunity because I lived in the DC area to start at MITRE and get to know the organization and then go from there. But if MITRE brings you in on remote work, then you can anticipate the opportunity to, of course, travel to here, the DC area, and spend time here, and that's more than welcome. And that funding is obviously available should we bring you on remote. Also, I work part-time now. I'm in Herndon, Virginia, which is just outside of DC. I go into work once a week, maybe, and that's fine. So it's been very flexible. The hybrid environment is working well, and I can speak for our company. It certainly is an opportunity. Don't let that hold you back. The opportunity will be there.
Jen, let me just say, I'm a little offended because you didn't think I would have anything to say about this, because you know I have something to say about almost everything.
Come on.
I in fact do about 80% of my work do a telework because the company's based in California. I do go on site when there's installations going on, but I will say that one of the things that I think is really born out of COVID is one of those things where we spent so much time on Teams and on Zoom calls and doing virtual meetings. We found out that a couple of the projects we thought were going to just languish for years and do nothing, Greensboro and Fort Myers Towers, we spent so much time doing calls with the site and combing over all the little bitty details of the installation and of the location of equipment and things like that. It ultimately turned out that both of them were the best installs we have ever done in the shortest time, and they came out just unbelievably beautiful. So the silver lining in the whole COVID thing was that we learned how to actually do these meetings and comb through with specificity about things, little stuff in the drawings, without having to be in the same room. And so a lot of it is that we just hired a project manager, and she lives in Minneapolis, and I live in Florida, and our other project manager lives in Wisconsin, and most of the company is in California. So we do a good bit of teleworking.
You know, I had to give you something.
Yeah.
So we only have a couple minutes left. So I do want to say, ask you your last thing, like what would be, if you could say a couple of last minute words about your company, what would be the biggest thing you would say, hey, look, I want you to be with Kobeck for this, or MITRE or Russ Bassett?
All right, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I want you to be at Kobeck because we are a family. And those aren't just words. I mean, we're getting ready to have our Kobeck Collective where the end of this month, where Kobeck is bringing everybody into the office for 2 days to do an all day of work on one day, and then some team building and a little baseball game at the Nats on the second day, to just to bring everyone together and build that team and that family out of our all the remote workers we do have. So, I know I said I don't want to be a broken record, but we want you in our family is how I would say it.
Awesome. Mitch?
Yeah, I would echo a lot of that. We're a small company. It's nice to work for a small company. The fellow that is the CEO bought the company when he was 28 years old, and he's owned it now. He's 74 years old. So do the math. And he still actively works in the projects and in the company. And you've met Mike. It's a small company, and every year they have a Christmas party where they bring in ponies and Santa and stuff for all the employees' kids, and they turn the whole factory into like this winter place for the kids. It's a really cool place to work. They do a annual chili cook-off, but more than that, I mean, I'm proud of, and I chose this company for a reason. I love the fact that all the products are made in USA. I love the fact that we take a lot of time to make sure that the product is going to be good for the controllers and the end game and the tech ops folks. We spend as much time worrying about the product, the consoles for the tech ops people, as we do the controllers, because if they both like it, you have a lot better chance of getting it in the building if they both like it than if one of them hates it and they're at war internally. So I'm proud of the fact that USA, we make fantastic products, and I will tell you this, that I say this at every presentation I do. We don't want to be, the company that meets the minimum standard. We want to be the company that makes the products that everybody else is measured by. And that's what we're doing. And we really have become that. And I know that because I hear it every place we go. And I tell all the places we go, if you want to get information about our company, I will give you the name of the air traffic manager, the tech ops manager, and the fac rep of every single facility that we have put consoles in. And you can call every single one of them, and I know what they're going to tell you. I don't have to do another thing because they will sell it for me. And so, I mean, it's easy to work for a company that makes really great products. So that's it.
All right, Mike, you got to follow that.
Yeah, well, I got 15 grandkids now, Mitch. So I'll put them in a van, and we're coming out to California for that. I want to see the ponies.
Save your money.
Yeah, that's it. And at Chili Cook-Off, I was, I think I was number 10 out of 30. So I didn't do so hot on the Chili Cook-Off, but, and I was also just within CASD. So I'll say that when I said there's 5,000 people with MITRE, there's 5,000 or 6,000 now. But MITRE's broken into smaller organizations. There's about 150 of us that work within the Center for Advanced Aviation System Development, which is the FAA side, the FAA, FFRDC, which is a federally funded research and development corporation. And with that, those opportunities that come with the company are broad, because not only do you have the opportunity within CASI and within the FAA side, I've been involved with the Department of Defense side. I've been involved with some other parts of the organization that gave us the opportunity to do international work. And so if you're looking for a broad range of opportunities as you move forward, this is a larger company than the other ones. And I think you have unique looks at 3 different companies. We all did a nice job bringing in different size and different types of companies here to show what the cultures can be and the collaboration can be and what the work might be like. I would also go with Sherry is that, you know, a good company knows it's a good family or it cares about its people. And particularly the opportunities they have in the building or at their home as they telework, or how they want to expand and grow on the outside through either education or opportunities to volunteer at organizations within the DC area or nationwide. So I'll leave it at that. And good luck hunting. And again, I'd say, hey, just give me a call. And I think everybody said that. Just give us a call, send us an email, or get a hold of our HR folks, and we're glad to help you out and go from there.
Well, I do want to say thank you. I know we've been going for an hour, and I thank you enough. Being the president of this organization, it's a very huge honor for me to be able to work with all of you on this event. It's a great opportunity. I look forward to getting any feedback that anybody has on this. And again, we're going to be putting this onto our website here, probably within the next week or two. I will have the contact information for each of the companies that was presented today. So between MITRE, Kobeck, Russ Bassett, again, Mike, Sherry, Mitch, thank you all so very much. And I do also want to give a very special shout out to Amy Parrish from UFA. She has been awesome to do our hosting platform and has been able to do our video for us as well. So we will have an awesome video that will be up on the website, like I said, in just hopefully a couple of weeks. Otherwise, for everyone that joined us, thank you again so much. And we hope to see you in November for our 3rd edition of We Want You. So for that, I want to say thank you and good night to everyone.